I am here today with a member of Team Cyberspeed, and I will be interviewing him today. So, what is your name, and how long have you been racing?
My name's Craig Van Eaton. I've been sailing for almost 50 years, probably about 48 years. So I started when I was 8 years old.
Yeah, that's it's been a long time. Okay. So, what do you do for sailing?
Well, I started out just recreational sailing, and then I started racing. And when I started racing, I kind of felt that it was kind of missing something because they had a lot of one-off races, and I came from car racing, so I kind of used a little bit of the knowledge in car racing, and I created an endurance series which just combined a few of the bigger races together, for a championship. And then when I did that, I started, I did a lot of research, and I found that we could do satellite tracking with the boats, which kind of makes it safer for the participants because then the race committee knows where the boats are, and it also allows the race to be followed on the internet by anyone that chooses to follow it. So it kind of gave it more of a spectator appeal.
Yeah, okay, so it made it a bit safer too.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's nice, yeah. And why do you sail?
Like I said before, I started just recreational sailing. It's just it's a good lifestyle sport. It's a lot of fun to be out there on the ocean. It's kind of there's so much to learn that every time I go out there, I find myself learning. Even today, after sailing for almost 50 years, every time I go out, I still kind of learn a little bit because you always have different sailing conditions and all that. And I used to race cars. And when I quit racing cars, I kind of got the urge to start racing again. And I had a local sailmaker that wanted to sponsor me for the sailboat racing. So we went racing, and I've been racing on and off ever since.
Yeah, that's great. And, well, the best question of them all. So when will I begin to start racing with you?
Well, this year I'm doing a lot of endurance races with my team, and we're going to be practicing for a bigger race hopefully for next year. So we're doing a lot of intensive training and really need to kind of work on our teamwork on the boat a lot more. So maybe middle to end of next year you could start doing some races with me.
That would be great. Okay. So what races are you planning?
Okay, so my next race is the Miami Key Largo race, and then the next day we race back from Key Largo to Miami. They added that second leg a few years ago. So it used to just be Miami to Key Largo, and so they added that second leg, which I think makes it a lot more sensible because then your trailers start and finish line, for the overall race instead of just the individual leg. So it solves a bunch of problems with that. Another thing we're working on towards that is our boat we have now is 12.5 feet wide, and we have to disassemble it and reassemble it every time we go to a race. And right now it's currently in the garage since the last hurricane, and so we've been kind of going through it. But we're going to make a tilt trailer, which will make moving the boat around a lot easier. So we're working on converting the current trailer with a tilt aspect of it, so we won't have to disassemble the entire boat.
That would make it much easier.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite race and why?
That's always a hard question because they're all fun. You go through so many experiences at each race that it just each one has a certain soft spot. The shorter races, the Hiram's Hall is always a fun race because it's always done around Halloween. It's a 2-day race. It's kind of like the Miami Key Largo race is this year, where you start one place, you race to another place. They have a Halloween party there because it's Halloween weekend, and then you race back the next day. And it always seems to happen that one day is really rough weather and the other day is really light weather. Whether it's the first day that's rough, it kind of changes out, but it never seems like you have two really good days. It's like one's foul weather, the other one's really light, so it's just always a lot of fun. And a few years ago, I was lucky enough to do a 350-mile race called the Florida 300, which I actually helped organize the race at the first several years that we had it. And so helping organize the race, doing all the rules of the race, and doing all this the setup and all that, it was kind of special to actually do it because my boat was never allowed to do any of those longer, over 100 plus mile races before. So when I helped organize this race, I made sure that they had an open class so that if I decided to race it, I could.
Yeah, and I bet with that first race you were talking about, with the bad weather, you got ahead a bunch because of how experienced you are.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys out there with a lot of experience, but yeah, it seems like every time I get on the boat, it's usually the weather goes terrible most of the time. When we did that race, 3 of the 5 days were tremendous thunderstorms. People were pulling into shore, and you had boats that got their mast broken. We actually, after finishing the Palm Beach Shores leg, the crew came up to me and asked me if we could go back out and tow his boat in because they broke their mast and they jerry-rigged a jib from the spinnaker pole and just to get there, but the Gulf Stream was taking them back out to sea. So I told me if he came with me, I'd do it, and we went back out and towed him back in.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of remember that, I think. Yeah, that was a big deal. So, what is your favorite boat?
Well, I love my boat. I've had it for a number of years. It's a fast boat. At the time when I first got it, it was the fastest production boat that was made. It's still fairly fast. The problem is it's heavy, and we're trying to solve the problem where you have to take it apart and put it all back together again each race. But we'll hopefully get past that. But it's still a fast boat. But what we're hoping for, if I had to pick my future favorite boat, it would be the NACRA 20 Carbon, which is, hey.
Hi, Coco.
Hey, okay. Which is a full foiling boat option. It has a full foiling boat option, but it's a little bit narrower than my boat, not too much. It's 10 and a half feet wide, so it's only 2 feet narrower than mine, but it's about half the weight, which makes it really nice. And I've never been on a foiling boat, so it'd be kind of interesting to learn how to foil and experience that, so it kind of takes the sailing to a whole nother level.
Yeah, foiling sounds really fun. I've seen people do that. It looks very interesting. So, do you have any future goals?
Yes, so the organization that organized the Florida 300, and they actually took over a few of the races, they they shut the doors, so it left a huge hole in the endurance sailing market. So I'm restarting the endurance sailing series to try and bring, try and elevate the endurance racing back up again, trying to bring back a couple of the races that have gone by the wayside because we've kind of lost a few of those races, and just bring back the endurance aspect of racing again because there's not that many people that do it.
Yeah, with the endurance, you could really tell how people are with their boats.
Yeah, it's a whole different mindset, and it's a lot of work before the race and a lot of work after the race, and it's just the preparation that you need to put your boat to is a lot higher than all the other forms of catamaran racing. So, it takes a special person to do that. So we're just trying to open it up and make it easier for the other people to experience it.
Thank you for your time, and we enjoyed interviewing you today.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.